Yeah, it was riding roller coasters gets at first you're like, oh, this is pretty cool, you know? I got a whole theme park to myself.
Oh, so when they filmed you riding a roller coaster, it's when the park was closed?
Mostly, yeah. And sometimes they'd be open.
Dude, it'd be way better if it was open, right?
No, yeah, but here's the problem. I got stuck in a few roller coasters. And that really fucked my head up.
Stuck how?
Like there's one
you couldn't get out of the seat?
Can't get out of the seat for like 45 minutes.
How did that happen?
I had one where you're standing and the cage comes down and under your junk. Here he is. Perfect. Come on in, Sam. And it we're just talking about roller coasters.
We thought you weren't going to show.
And so it takes you parallel, so you're like flying.
Yeah.
And it came into the thing and it just didn't. What's up, buddy? It was locked in like that, and I was sitting facing the ground, parallel. Here, hop over there and slide that over there. Parallel to the ground, facing down for 45 minutes in a harness that was like a fucking straight jacket.
What are the odds that they close the park, they film a fucking show about roller coasters, and you get stuck?
A lot. You'd be shocked. It happened a lot.
What?
You'd getting stuck in a roller coaster is not. And then I started getting panic about getting stuck.
Yeah, I would be freaking out.
They closed the park. It just so happens they put the cameras on.
They closed the park.
That's like the worst luck ever.
Hold on. It just didn't malfunction. They're like, 6 o'clock, turn off the power. Oh, Bert's still up there?
No. It malfunctioned. It malfunctioned.
What are the odds, though, right?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure those
it happens.
things.
They had one.
What was the best roller coaster, like the scariest one? X2 from Magic Mountain?
No, I didn't enjoy X2 entirely.
Wow.
I would say Magic Mountain, my favorite one in Magic Mountain without a doubt was Superman.
Really?
Yeah, because I had full access to that park, so I could get on any ride when I wanted. We shot there for a whole summer.
You were VIP?
You didn't have to fake a back injury?
No, I just would literally walk up to the front and they'd be like, "What's up, Bert?" And I'd just get on.
Because they knew you as the roller coaster guy.
Yeah, well, that and I shot 13 episodes of a show there called Scream If You Know the Answer.
At Magic Mountain?
Yeah.
So they all knew you?
Oh, yeah.
You could just walk right in?
Oh, 100%.
The security in the front?
Oh, everyone.
You were Norm?
But by the way, I was also the guy who did roller coasters. So, like, if I went to any theme park, anyone that worked at a theme park knew my show. And they'd geek out. They'd be like, oh my God, can I ride a ride with you, bro?
Dude, you're like the Hickson of...
You were like the...
yeah, I was definitely...
You were like Jared from Subway before the diddling?
Dude, this is how much I had owners of parks who seldomly came to their parks come out to meet me and ask me about rides and be like, I've got it. I've got like $5 million. Here's what I'm thinking about buying. You've ridden them all. What's your opinion?
Whoa.
Because I was very seldomly do you get someone who goes in, sits with experts, rides I rode whatever ride came out. I rode it first.
What's the best one? The best one.
That's a pretty good life. I can't believe you walked
Where do I need
to
take the kids?
Oh, no questions asked. Sandusky, Ohio.
Sandusky, Ohio.
Yeah, Cedar Point.
Cedar Point's
got the best ride across the board anyone will ever say is Millennium Force. It's just
Millennium Force.
It is an insane. It's like a 320-foot drop at like a really inverted angle. It's just a lap bar, so you get flying on that ride. It is one of the greatest rides.
Is it by
ever.
Cleveland?
Yeah. Up by
it's close to Cleveland.
Yeah, real close.
Because I'm going to my first Cleveland Browns game. My wife got me tickets to Ravens versus Cleveland in Cleveland in October. Shit, I might go check it out. We're going to be there all weekend.
It's so much. That park.
How did you become a Browns fan again?
I had an older brother. He's about 4 years older than me, and he loved to humiliate me growing up. It was, classic sibling rivalry, make me cry in front of my friends, and he had a baseball card collection. I was jealous. He had a big one. I didn't have shit. So I don't know if you remember when the Cleveland Indians were, they made a movie about the Cleveland Indians, how bad they were, and they were always 35 games behind first place. They were always
Major League.
Yeah. One of the best movies ever.
So
baseball movies.
So my brother said, "I'll give you a card." So he gave me Dennis Eckersley's rookie card on the Cleveland Indians, and instantly I was like, the Indians rule. I had one card. So back then, this was 1978, 79. Back then, the only access, you could watch TV and get the scores, the news. Yeah. But my mom was always watching her Spanish soap operas. So I had to, in the morning, I'd go to the white people's neighborhood and steal newspapers because Mexican neighborhoods, we didn't have newspapers on our front yards. You had to go to the white people neighborhood. I would alternate, and I would.
You're like the
I would follow the
anti-paperboy?
Indians just based on the sports page. I'd get right to. There was like like 3 lines on the Cleveland Indians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to know who got the most hits and what pitcher pitched and how many strikeouts he had and. I just got obsessed with the Cleveland Indians. And back then I was a Steelers fan because, they were winning Super Bowls. Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, Lynn Swann. Everybody liked the Steelers. So I was a Steeler fan for football, but baseball, I was a Cleveland Indians fan. Then in 1980, the Browns beat the Steelers after they won the Super Bowl. They beat the Rams. And then that next year, the Browns beat them, and I thought, I'm a 10-year-old kid, and I thought, wait a minute, they're from that same city that the Indians are from, and they just beat my Steelers. I love the Browns now. And I became hardcore. I was a hardcore Browns fan from the I don't know if you follow football at all.
Yeah.
The old school, early 80s was Brian Sipe, quarterback. Dave Logan, that a tall white guy.
Yeah.
If you have a tall white guy playing receiver, he doesn't drop any balls. You know what I mean? You can't be white and play wide receiver and drop any balls. If they're going to let you play wide receiver, you better fucking catch you notice wide receivers, they have one-fingered catches. They never drop shit. And when they drop, she's like, ooh, we might have to bench this motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But black guys could drop balls all the time because they're going to make up for it. They might drop an easy touchdown, but they're going to do some crazy shit. They're going to make up for it. What was that?
A little race math?
Hey, look at all the white wide receivers in the NFL. They all have outstanding hands. They never drop any ball. They run the best routes because if they didn't, they're like, dude, you better be fucked. Your routes better be perfect.
Yep.
Isn't
Right?
it interesting? You see not a big plethora of like Chinese wide receivers.
There's no Mexicans in football. I think there's a half Mexican. There might be 2. I think Anthony Munoz played. He played offensive
Steelers,
lineman.
right?
The Bengals.
Oh, the Bengals. Yeah.
Yeah. You remember? Oh, so you guys know football? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Asians are
Anthony
either
Munoz,
kickers-
Tony Gonzalez, but I think he's Puerto Rican. If you're Puerto Rican, that's not really Mexican. So.
Definitely not really Mexican.
So Mexicans, I mean, we play soccer, and we got heart in boxing.
Yeah,
That's
boxing's
basically
your
it.
thing.
That's
Boxing
basically
for
it. There's
sure.
no basketball for Mexicans. When I played football when I was 9 for like those pee-wee teams, and back then, at 9, all the kids are the same height. Dude, I was playing middle linebacker and defensive end. I really thought that I was going to play professional football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't know that I was going to stop growing, but I was so convinced that when the USFL came out, remember that other league?
Of course.
People were like, what do you feel about the USFL? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Whoever pays me the most money, I'll play for them. Like, I didn't care. I'll play USFL. Herschel Walker's doing USFL. Fuck it. Why not?
I love that you
what I
kept
mean?
your options open.
And then 6th grade comes along. See, that pee-wee football is tackle football, right?
Yeah.
So 6th grade comes along, and it's from 6th, 7th, and 8th middle school. It's flag football, right? So it's all about speed. So that's when people started getting. That's when Mexicans start separating from whites and blacks. That 6th grade, I was talking so much shit that I was going to be a professional football player. Like that in 6th grade, I got cut. I didn't make the team. And I couldn't, so I blamed it on, pussy ass speed. I go, when you put wait till 9th grade when we put the helmets back on, we'll see what's up. I play tackle football, punk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was making up excuses why I'm going to make it in the NFL, yet I can't even make the 6th grade flag football team. So then in 7th grade, that 6th grade first year of junior high was a fucking nightmare. People wanted to kick my ass because I was Mexican, but I was acting white. I was into metal and shit, and you're supposed to dress like a cholo at school. You got to claim a gang. You can't just be, you Mexican, man. Why are you trying to be white? I'm like, oh shit, I got to get out of this school. People want to kick my ass. So I transferred myself to a white school clear across the town. So I became like just a loner instantly, and nobody knew me at this school, but at least they weren't, at least I didn't have to act like a gangbanger, right? So then I tried out for that football team, got cut again. Still flag football, got cut again. But none of my friends from the neighborhood went to that school. So I told them I made the team, but I made the team as a 2nd string quarterback. I didn't want to get too greedy.
Yeah.
But they kicked me off the team because I got in a fight. So they kicked me off. Right? They kicked me out. So meanwhile, I'm like, okay, I got through 7th grade. I'm just waiting for 9th grade, just 9th fucking grade. So I could show them what's up.
Yeah.
Fuck this flag football pussy ass shit.
Yeah.
So 8th grade comes along. I fucking didn't make the team again, dude. I was like, fuck it, one more year. So 9th grade comes along. I'm in high school. Here in high school, they don't cut you. Everybody makes the team. So I didn't get cut. So they didn't know where to put me. I was so the only thing I could play was wide receivers. I was slow as hell, slowest guy on the team. Girls were faster than me. Slow as fuck. But I had good hands, man. Yeah. So I'm slowest guy on the whole team. So I was a 2nd string wide receiver, and they never played me. 2nd string behind Royal Wilbon, this black guy who could have played in the pros.
Royal Wilbon.
In 9th grade. Royal Wilbon. He could have played.
That's a name that comes with an illegitimate child.
Yeah, for sure. That is an illegitimate child.
No joke. This is no joke. Santa Ana High, 1984, our freshman football team. This is no exaggeration. That was probably the best freshman high school football team that's ever existed. No joke. Yeah. We had just dudes fully developed in freshmen. They could have played varsity, but they just the next year they all played varsity and they all went to the state finals and shit. But that year we had them all. Every game was 55-0, 64-0. Everything was a complete smash. We had these 2 running backs first part of the season. Hector Valencia, this fast Mexican, and Donovan Mauga was half Samoan, half white. No, they were. It was like men playing with boys. But then mid-season, it even got worse. Robert E. Lee, this big black guy from Santa Ana Valley,
His name was Robert E. Lee.
Robert E. Lee. We heard he was getting transferred middle of the football season. This guy's This guy was like fucking like Earl Campbell.
Yeah,
dude, he's huge. We heard about him. So he comes on board. Hector Valencia and Donovan Mauga, the stars. They're no stars no more. They just give the ball to Robert E. Lee. Nobody could tackle him. He was just running over everybody. And they never. I played once. They get. This is the story. They let me go in. It was like 50-0. They let me go in to run one pass, and then we're going to throw the pass to me. The other 2nd string wide receiver, he intentionally had a false start to fuck up my play. Then they took me. I'm like, motherfucker, because I caught like a 3-yard pass.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm like, fuck, but it came back. They called it back because I know what he was doing. He was jealous. So the last game of the season, it's 50-0, halftime. It's Santa Ana Valley. We just crushing them. So at halftime, since it was the last game, the coaches said, "Hey, listen, we're gonna let the bench warmers play the whole second half." And we're like, "Oh my god! Now I'm gonna finally get to show these motherfuckers what's up." Because I'm slow, but I got moves, man. I could juke a motherfucker.
Yeah,
but all you got to do is just turn around and chase me down, and you'll catch me.
Yeah.
Because I'll always make you miss, but you can catch me if you don't give up. There's no way I'm outrunning anybody. Anytime I got behind people, I'm like I was just waiting for that hand just to grab me by the back of the neck and drag me down. But first play of the second half, we kick off to them. I'm on the kicking team. We're all running like, fuck yeah, running full clip. Like I've never ran full clip on the football field during the game. The guy catches the ball. First guy that gets to him wraps up his ankles, and then the second guy spears him on top, and he falls back, and his arm pops off. His arm was dislocated, so he's laying on the field. So they called the ambulance, and by the time the ambulance came and carted him off, the sun went down, and they forfeited the game.
Oh my god!
That was it. That's when I knew. You know what? Football is not for Mexicans, man. Then I went full blown music. I go, you know what? I'll be a rock star. You don't have to run fast to be a rock star.
The only Mexican I know in football is Mark Sanchez.
Is he really Mexican?
Sanchez.
That's pretty beautiful. I did the Good
That
Morning,
might be a stepdad's last name.
with him.
You did?
Yeah, we did Good Morning America, and his hands were massive, and he was beautiful.
That's a good looking dude.
Yeah, me, him, and Mark Sanchez, and
I hope he's Mexican.
That bald.
I think he is.
Chef. The guy from Cleveland, I forget his name.
The bald chef?
Yeah, Mark. Fuck it. I watch so much Food Network and DIY.
Oh, my mom made me watch it over and over and over.
Network?
I like Food Network and I like DIY Network.
You like to cook?
I love cooking. I have a cooking show.
You love it.
Yeah.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, but it's on All Things Comedy. I'll send you a link. You
But
guys,
it's doing really well, though.
Yeah, it's doing really
It's
well.
killing it.
Yeah, I'd love for you guys to do it. It's fucking
Yeah,
fun as
dude,
shit.
I can't. I can barely cook macaroni and cheese, and I have to go through the instructions.
Me too. It's called Something's
I'm
Burning.
always missing something. I'm
Yeah.
like, where's the salt? Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. Dude, the part of the brain that regulates cooking, that shit ain't getting any blood. It's black. I cannot cook, man.
Really?
No. I eat out every day.
For real?
Every day.
Wait, so do you eat
Your
healthy?
old lady cooks, though, right?
She's a great cook. Yeah, but I'm always on the run. You know what I mean?
So what did you eat today?
Just had a Chipotle burrito from El Pollo Loco, though. But it's their Chipotle burrito.
Oh, it's not.
It was a drive-in.
Yeah,
I was in a hurry. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I was hungry. I hadn't eaten all day. I go, fuck, let me hit a drive-through. Was thinking, contemplating Carl's Jr. Then I go, fuck
I
that.
love Carl's Jr.
Yeah, I was like, should I just do Carl's Jr.? But I thought that food is so disgusting that it's going to affect the podcast. And I thought, you know what? Let's go a step above is El
Get in
Pollo.
the zone, dude.
It's
The
still
podcast zone.
Yeah, it's still a step above is El Pollo, and then Chipotle's above that.
Yeah.
And then you got a
Baja Fresh.
Yes.
Baja Fresh is one of the best burritos.
Hold on, but Chipotle's not above Baja Fresh?
No.
I think so. I think
No.
dude, they got no GMO shit.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it's all no GMO.
I do the burrito bowl when I go to Chipotle.
No steroids in their cows.
Oh.
They treat the cows right. You
I
know what
like.
mean?
I got to be honest with you. If I'm
They
gonna
make
go
'em
Mexican
happy.
food and it's fast food, easily Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell.
I think you love the idea of Taco Bell. Right?
Wait,
but yeah,
why? Tell me why.
Well, think about how you feel after you eat taco. You never feel good about yourself, right?
No, I
you
never
always feel
feel
like you're
good.
fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, why did you do it, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Taco
like
Bell.
it's like
when you're
going to
out of
champagne.
options,
Taco Bell's
that's when
like
you
going
go
to the
Taco Bell.
champagne room. It seems
Yeah.
like a great idea.
You know what? The only time I feel good about Taco Bell is if I drank a lot and I know I need to get food in my system before
Yeah.
I go to bed so I don't have a hangover. Then Taco Bell's like medicine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wait, how old were you when you first smoked weed?
I didn't start smoking weed regularly until I was 28. And before
That's a
that,
great age.
Yeah, and before that, I was against it. I would smoke weed like once a year my whole life, and it was always a horrible experience.
Yeah.
Just horrible. And I
Like panic?
panic, freaking out.
Yeah, that
it was
my,
always
that was
horrible.
my whole childhood.
Yeah, I hated weed. The bands I was in, there was always at least one or two guys that smoked weed. Anytime they'd fuck up a song, I'd yell at them.
Really?
Oh, dude, you've been fucking smoking weed. Can't even remember the second chorus. You know, I was a dick about weed. I just thought
I
I'm like,
remember when Rogan was like that. With weed.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
very anti.
I wasn't one of those dudes that said I don't smoke weed, but I have nothing against it. And I was against it. I
Really?
thought it fucking melted your brain. Thought it gave you cancer. Thought it was just the worst thing ever. And I always had a horrible experience with it. I had to when I was in high school. Every high school on the West Coast, at least, I don't know how it is. I think it's different on the East Coast, but we have a stoner section. You guys familiar with stoner sections?
Yeah.
It was just all the long-haired, dirty scumbag dudes. During lunch, they all just congregated in like, you know, in the corner of the football field or something. And because I had long hair in high school, I had to hang out with them. I was already considered a loser. If you're going to grow out your hair in the mid 80s, early 80s, you basically just cast yourself into the stoner area.
Yeah.
None of the high level girls want to talk to you or anything like that. So, but even though I didn't smoke weed, if you looked carefully, you can see that I was on the outskirts. Like I wasn't really going in there. Yeah. It looked like I was part of that, but look, I'm always on the outskirts. I'm never going in. We had one friend that would go in. He was, he'd get high, but I didn't even know those guys' names. I just hung out with them just because the white people they didn't like me. And then one time they invited me into the during lunch, and I took a hit of a fucking joint, and my head blew up, and I had history class, U.S. history right after lunch, and I'm fucking lit. I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna get through the rest of school?
Is this the first time you smoked weed?
No, it wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first. It was like, here, why did I do it? Here we go again. So I go into history class, and I just thought to myself, I'm just gonna look down and just, no one's going to notice me. I'm just going to get through this shit. I'm going to get through it. And then I thought, I didn't say a word to anybody, didn't look at anybody or anything, but people kept looking back and going, oh shit. And then some girl said, oh fuck. She gave me her mirror. She goes, look at your eyes. And I looked at my eyes and I'm like, oh, it scared the shit out of me. My eyes were so blown up. I just stood up, walked out of the class, went right to the bathroom. The teacher's all like, everyone's like, where the fuck is he going? So the teacher calls the campus cop and I'm sitting down in the bathroom, just sitting down. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I just walked out of class. So the campus cop opens up the door. Never forget him, big, thick mustache. He opens the door, just holds it open like that. And immediately I start crying. I always cry to get out of trouble. I'm really good at that. I get pulled over by the cops and when I was 17 and I was drunk and started crying and it worked. But here, as soon as he opens the door, I start crying and pretending I'm sick. Like I ate something. Like, oh, my stomach. He goes, what's wrong? Get up. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm going to throw up. So I'm like acting like I have food poisoning.
You are hilarious.
So he picks me up, drags me to the principal's office. Mr. Rankin had a toupee, never forget him. And he said, "What?" He drags me in, and the campus cop, he knows that I was hanging out with he knows I was probably stoned.
Yeah.
And the principal did too. So they just sent me home. They go, just go home. So I just walked home, stoned as fuck. It was the longest walk ever. And I just went right to bed. And I'll never forget looking at my VCR, the clock on my VCR, just laying in bed, just watching the minutes tick away, just waiting for this weed to get out of my system.
There's no worse feeling.
Oh, just leave. I hate this feeling. I hated it.
Dude, I had 2 of those experiences in high school, and it scared me away from weed until probably like my first senior year in college. Like that's when I started smoking again, but I got real careful. Like I went in like a little baby hit, and then be like, okay, all right, I can have a beer with it. But then
that's why nobody gets high the first time, because nobody makes them really hit it. So they're always like, boop, boop, I'm done. You're like, okay. You'd be like, are you high? They're like, nah, not really.
Yeah, it was. I didn't start liking it until I was 28, and it took me. I fell in love. I was a strip club DJ, and this girl, her stage name was Darian. That was
Darian.
Darian. That was her stage name, and I worked at the right by LAX. Have you ever heard of Bare Elegance?
I think so.
It's right by LAX.
Yeah.
The owner of that club. They own 2 other clubs, the Jet Strip, which is in the same area too. There's the Jet Strip, which is where they put the super dirty gangster girls.
Yeah.
And then the Bare Elegance was the higher class one. They're not as dirty as the ones at the Strip. Like you want crazy lap dance?
I like the hood rats.
You want crazy lap dances? Go to the Jet. You know what I mean? You want higher quality girls? You go to the Bear. So I DJ'd at the Bear.
I like chicks with prison tattoos.
Cholita tattooed on her stomach. I
right?
remember her.
So there was
stretch marks.
There was a girl from the Jet Strip, the dirty club that we heard about. That was from Kentucky, 23 years old, and she, people were saying she's just like the most beautiful girl. That's like she was too high level for the Jet. They needed to send her to the Bear, but she stayed at the Jet for a while until she her best friend at the time was living with the DJ. But then Darian fucks the DJ. I think they had a threesome, but then Darian and the DJ ended up doing shit on their own. It was a mess.
Yeah.
So the owner didn't want to fire her, so they told her, we're going to send you to the Bear. So we heard, oh shit, Darian's coming to the Bear. Oh shit. So when she shows up to the club, she could have went to college on a soccer scholarship. Her brother was a soccer star. She comes from a family of soccer players, so her legs and her body was just like perfect. It was, and everybody would fall out when they would see her on stage. They'd go, "Oh shit!" I'll never forget. Some black lesbian chick came in, and she was on the stage, and when Darian came out, she turned around and looked at me, and then she goes, her body on point. It was, I'll never forget that. There's certain things you'll never forget. A black chick said, that white girl got body. Damn. So I fell in love with her, and we were just like, at that point, that was the best I've ever done in relationships as far as looks go. I'm like, she just, she topped.
Yeah.
She was tops. And then
accent.
Yeah, a little country accent. Oh. And then she, I wondered, people from the Jet, I know a dude who goes, dude, I hear you're going out with Psycho. And I said, dude, you better watch your fucking mouth, man. Calling my girl Psycho. You know what I mean? He goes, oh, okay. All right, you'll find out. You know what I mean? The problems that she caused at the jet, I just didn't want to know about it.
Of course.
I heard some crazy shit happen, but I didn't want to know about it. I was so in love.
Yeah.
And right in the beginning, me and my buddy, we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend yet. We were just seeing each other. I was like anti-girlfriend at that time. And me and my buddy, we did some MDMA and went to a club, Club Lingerie on Sunset.
No.
I do know of it. Yeah, I've never been there.
Anyways, it was a club. It was 19,
Are they still open? I think half of them closed.
They may have changed the name or whatever, but it was 19.
Strip bars are dying.
No, it wasn't a strip bar. Club Lingerie was like a regular club. It was called Club Lingerie.
Pancake House?
It was on Sunset. It was
What year is this?
98.
Okay.
98. So me and my buddy had done some MDMA, and we're at the club lit. So I'm like calling her up, and she's at the strip club working. I go, get off work, see if you can get off, and then come meet me at the club. She comes, and I'll never forget her walking into the club, and she had white contacts on. She liked to just scare. She's just like this girl with
She liked attention.
White contact.
Exactly. She liked attention.
She's a stripper
Yes. Exactly.
named Darren.
So she shows up, and we're sitting on the couch with my buddy Scott, and I see her walk in, and she's walking through the dance floor, looking for me like Blade and shit. You know what I mean? She's just walking through, ready to kill a fucking vampire. You know what I mean? And then she was looking for some MDMA, couldn't find it. So we went back to my house, and the E wore off, right? So then she pulled out a joint. She goes, well, we can at least get high. I'm like, I am not smoking any weed right now. I'm having too much of a good time. I don't want to fuck this up. She goes, please smoke it with me. I'm like, no way. And then she begs, she goes, come on, please. And I go, fuck. It's gonna fuck up the night. So we both took a couple hits of that joint, and we laughed like mental patients all fucking night over nothing. We had the real giggles where you're not you're laughing just by looking at someone. You just start laughing. I'll never forget her laying down. She's laying like this, has a pillow over her face, laying down, laughing. She's laying down, and then she takes the pillow off her face, and then sits up, and then looks at me and goes, ah! Covers her pillow, and then lays down again, and then she gets up and goes like this. Over and over. It was just like, and then the next morning I couldn't believe I had then we ordered Damiano's. You remember late night Damiano's?
Oh, yeah.
Late night fucking cheesecake, late night pizza, 4 in the morning you get pizza delivered to you. So we did that. And then the next morning I couldn't understand why I had such a great time high. That never happened before. So I thought, okay, maybe it was the MDMA. Maybe it was that.
Yeah.
So then we decided to get high again the next night. And then boom, again, we laughed like mental patients. And then the next night, again, we laughed like we were just having the greatest time, just getting super fat. And just every night, just after the club, we would just smoke weed. We'd only do it after the club late at night.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even think of driving back then. When I heard people were drive stoned, I'm like, how do you drive
I
stoned?
could never imagine.
Yeah, I
doing
couldn't.
that. I still don't know how the people do that.
Oh, you
don't drive no more?
high?
I've never driven high. Oh, I drove high one time, and I just had a great time driving. But I wasn't good at it. I was listening to Jane's Addiction, the Triple X album. You know, the one they recorded live in Hollywood.
Okay,
Rock and roll.
I don't know that. I wasn't. I know Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
But I'm not familiar with any of the releases.
Oh my God.
I know the songs.
The
Ben
rock-
Costellan.
No, this one was.
mine.
It was just the perfect song. It's like a Lou Reed cover, and it was. I had just gotten high. My wife's like, "Hey, can you run over and get the girls' goggles at the house?" And I couldn't tell her I'd gotten high, and I was like, "Sure."
Why your wife doesn't? You can't get high around.
No,
your wife?
I can, but it just looked irresponsible because it was like noon.
Yeah. When you have kids,
yeah.
you don't want to mix that. You don't want to even argue with your wife. Like, I could be stoned and drive.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want that. Like,
And so-
I cannot be stoned and drive my son. That'll never happen.
No, I could never.
That'll never happen.
I can never be inebriated at all and drive my. I can, I'm allowed to smoke pot if like a bunch of people are around.
Yeah.
You can get if you want to get high, but it's got to be towards the end of the night. You can't do it when everyone gets here. But and I had just done it. It was like noon, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go get them. I'll walk." She goes, "Oh, don't walk. They want to get in the pool now. Just drive the car." And so I got in the car, and that was and I was like, "Oh," and I was like, the sun looked perfect. Last night was the first time I got high in a very long time, where I was like, "Wow, time is taking forever." Like I got I took just too many hits.
Yeah.
and but on my car ride home over the hills, I was lost. I didn't know where I was. I was in the back of a Uber, and it was a really, really comfortable 5 class Mercedes, like the big bodied one. It was real, or C class or S class.
And he's Ubering in it?
Dude, I'm in the best mood, and it's so cushiony, and my sweatshirt neck thing held my head perfectly, and he was listening to Russian music, but it was Russian chanting music, and I speak a little Russian, and so I was catching words here and there. Oh, it was fucking the greatest ride home. I was so happy. I'm kind of looking forward to that ride home tonight. I might see if I can say Uber.
The first time I drove
from the store?
Yeah.
The first time I drove stoned, it was 6 months into enjoying weed. I'm 28, but I wouldn't even imagine driving. I just didn't think I could. And then it was like 10:45 one day, and Blockbuster on Sunset closes at 11, and I had like 6 movies or something. I'm like, shit, I forgot to turn these in. If I wait till tomorrow, that's another $24. But I was stoned, and I'm like, shit, can I make it? It's not even that far, like Santa Monica and Fairfax to that, right next to where that Kentucky Fried Chicken used to be, where the Blockbuster used to be.
Yeah.
And man, I had to cross Fountain, and when you cross in Fountain on a street that doesn't have a light, it's dangerous.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And when you're stoned, I just stayed right. I was like on Curson and Fountain going, oh my God, how am I going to make it? And my video stacked. I'm like, how am I going to do this? And I pulled it off. It was scary, and I pulled it off, and I was fascinated with the fact that I pulled it off like I didn't die. I go, how did I go to Blockbuster and not die?
That is so funny.
And now it's like, it's just like the Matrix. I make that analogy. Like in the first Matrix, when Neo found out he was in some kind of computer program, it was very hard for him to really kick ass, and really use his powers to their potential. It was hard. But by Matrix 3, he's fighting 50 guys up in the sky in the clouds, and he's got it all down. He's not tripping over the fact that he could do whatever he wants. And the first one, he's like, oh, shit. That's how being stoned is at first. And driving, you're like, oh my God, there's no way I could drive. And like, I know jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean?
Wait, when did you start practicing jiu-jitsu?
When I was 24.
For real?
Yep.
That seems like late in life, right?
Yeah, that is late in life. That is,
to be as good as you are.
After I realized like I was never going to make it in football, it was all about rock stardom. So it was. I was
before or after Darren.
Darian.
What I started Darian. I started dating her as a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I was already in jiu-jitsu. I came to LA, to conquer the music business. I started getting into martial arts so I could be in shape. I didn't want to be a fat rock star. And then I started with karate, and then I saw the UFC. I'm like, fuck, my hobby's going to be jiu-jitsu now, because I just saw the UFC. It was just hobby. I'm going to make it in music. I'm DJing to pay the bills. I'm going to make it in music is what I'm thinking. Yeah. And then the jiu-jitsu blows up, and the music didn't. I never stopped.
But when how old were you when someone's like, hey man, you're really good at jiu-jitsu? Like how soon into practicing was someone like?
Believe it or not, Joe Rogan was the first one who made me. I thought I was doing what everyone else was doing. I didn't think I was doing anything special. I'm a purple belt. And Joe Rogan, once we started hanging out, he was saying, dude, you're doing some shit that no one else is doing? I'm like, what are you talking about? Everyone's doing what I'm doing. They're not doing what I'm doing? So Joe really, I really didn't think I was anything special at all.
Really?
I mean, I still don't. But Joe kind of, he put it in my head that, damn, no one else is doing rubber guard like the way I'm doing it. And there were guys, like Nino Schembri, he was playing, he did the Gogo Plata before anybody. I'm sure it's an old judo move, but he popularized it. And, I just added stuff and changed it. And all I did with jiu-jitsu is I'm like a DJ, you know what I mean? I'm a DJ that, there's DJs that take other people's content and then put it in their own little mix or their little playlist. And then there's DJs that do that, and then they add their own shit too. They sprinkle in the original shit. I'm a DJ like that. It's taking people's shit, putting together in a system, and I sprinkle some variations that I can, I come up with. I'm like a jiu-jitsu DJ, really.
How'd you meet Joe?
In jiu-jitsu at Jean-Jacques Machado's class. He was doing news radio at the time. So, and there was always a guy or two that was like in a soap opera here. In jiu-jitsu, there's rich dudes, doctors, lawyers, some kind of dude who owns this fucking giant company. There's always dudes mixed into jiu-jitsu, high level dudes, even especially back then, because it was considered expensive for martial art. Karate, $30 a month. Jiu-Jitsu, they're talking about like $200 a month. You know what I mean? It's a little different. So I heard, they go, there's an actor that trains here, man. He's on that show, News Radio. I'm like, oh, really? And then I'd meet him. I go, oh, you're that actor, dude. I never seen News Radio, but, I was like, oh, shit, he's an actor. And then we just started talking, and then we started training a little bit. And he said, dude, you should come over to my house and fucking teach me this crazy shit. Then I'd go over his house, his old house in Bell Canyon, and we would do, I show him the twister and stuff like that. I was a purple belt at the time, showing him some stuff. So,
and what belt was he?
He was a blue belt.
So how does it go? It goes
white, blue, purple, brown, black.
Okay.
And then beyond that is coral, and then red belt. That's
there's something past black?
Yeah.
I thought there was
you get all your degrees.
Second degree black.
Second degree, third degree, fourth degree, fifth. I think it goes up until like
coral?
Maybe coral's next. Like Jean-Jacques Machado's coral. He's not black belt. He's coral.
Oh, what are you?
I'm a black belt.
You're not coral?
Nope.
Do you think you'll
you
ever...
have to be in... I think you have to be training 35 years...
Oh, really?
Or more to be coral, I think. Something like that.
So then did you... So
that's crazy.
So did you and Joe just hit it off?
Yeah. I remember he was, back then he was a super conspiracy theorist, and I was too. So that's how we really connected at first, is we were going back on conspiracy theories. And I remember asking him, I'm like, wow, we agree on so many things. And I remember asking him, like, oh, okay, let's see if he believes in God. Okay. Because I was leaning more atheist, but I was agnostic. Some things happened in my life where I'm thinking, man, maybe there is a God.
Yeah.
But I was atheist for so long, from like, once I found out everybody wasn't Catholic, I thought everybody was Catholic.
Yeah.
And then once I found out there was other religions at 11, I'm like, dude, I've been a fucking altar boy for the last 3 years, and you're telling me everyone's not Catholic? What's a Jew? You know what I mean? Like, what's a Muslim? And then I thought, okay, this is all bullshit. There's all these different religions. Oh, okay, I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic because my mom's Catholic.
Yeah.
You're a Jew because your mom's Jew. Okay, I get it. You know what I mean? So I thought, okay, fuck it. There is no God. There is no Satan. So then I became an atheist as a teenager, and then started writing satanic lyrics because I was a big Slayer fan.
Yeah.
Not because I was worshiping Satan. I didn't think he existed. I didn't think he exists so much that I could write scary satanic lyrics and scare people. But, but I never believed in it. But that's how much of an atheist I had become, that I felt like I bought the Satanic Bible, for song ideas. Slayer was writing just like Game of Thrones satanic songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't
the guy in Slayer right now, isn't he super Christian?
I don't know about that.
Like the lead singer, someone in the band,
I don't know
is
about
like
that.
super Christian.
I would love to know that. But Wasp, their lead singer, Blackie Lawless, he became Christian. He's a born again Christian. I won't do certain songs,
Really?
That happens. People switch. For me, I was brought up a Catholic, was an altar boy. The priest tried to make moves on me, fucked up. He didn't have any game. My priest didn't have any game.
Wait, what do you mean?
That happened to me too, dude.
Me and my buddy we were altar boys, and I altar boyed when I believed in God, and then once I became an atheist, I went back and was an altar boy again. I go, you know what? These motherfuckers been lying to us. So then I became an altar boy just to steal change from in the back when we, from the collection, so we could go
stealing
play
from the church.
Fuck yeah! So we could go play Miss Pac-Man and Defender. We just wanted the change. We take some dollar bills too, but it was like Ocean's 11. Me and my friend who were doing it legit. We were legit altar boys, and while we were legit altar boys, the priest asked us if we wanted to go get ice cream with him. And for me, I didn't know what game was back then. I was like 10. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was just like, all I saw was Free
Hell
Rocky
yeah,
Road.
ice
Like,
cream.
are you kidding? All right, let's do it. But my buddy's aunt, she got wind of it, and she said, you know what? Let me cock block. So she came along, and she, that just blew his game.
Did she tell you that?
Motherfucker said ice cream. You ever see Half Baked?
Yeah.
Remember when Dave Chappelle asked that girl, he thinks his friends are asleep in the back, and he looks back, and then he asks that girl, you think you want to go get some ice cream sometime? And then his friend woke up and goes, ice cream? Motherfucker said ice cream. Anyways, Half Baked, watch it. It's amazing.
So you asked Joe if he was an atheist, and he said what?
Yes. I go, do you believe in God? He said, come on, man. That's religion's just used to control the masses. I was like, Yes, I got a new BFF. So I remember that. I was in his car, I'm like, shit, because if he would have been all religious, because we were agreeing on so much shit, like the moon landing and all that, you know, he was a giant moon. He was the biggest moon landing denier of all time. He would battle with NASA scientists on air. You could hear that show on YouTube. Nobody was better than Joe. When Joe truly believes in something, you don't want to argue.
good.
You don't want to argue with that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Joe is a smasher. He will straight stomp you like Vanderlei Silva and Dan Henderson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He don't fuck around. Yeah. And we just clicked on that. We were hardcore conspiracy theorists. You know. I mean,
I have subtle conspiracy theories, but they're ones that are so unpopular.
Which one?
I'm even afraid to say it because people get offended when I say this.
Which one?
I think the government created AIDS.
Okay.
To kill black people and gays. Okay. I believe that.
I mean, if you read the book by Bill Cooper, he talks about basically that.
Yeah.
They created a gay agenda, and there's nothing against gay people.
Well, there's
created the great gay agenda, and then made AIDS to kill them off.
I wouldn't doubt it. If they could do it, they would do it. I wouldn't doubt it. But when you hear, there was a guy on Joe Rogan's podcast, is Dr. Doucheberg or something like that.
The one Callum was on?
Yes.
Where the guy was saying that AIDS is just because of drug use?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I listened to some of that.
Basically what he's saying is AIDS is a condition. You know, AIDS is like acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Mm-hmm. It means your immune system is broke. It means your engine is broke, you know? So a lot of things can cause that. Malnutrition, a whole shitload of viruses can make your immune system stop working. So in the case of AIDS, originally before it was called AIDS, it was called GRID, gay-related immune deficiency. It was a gay disease because in the 70s, all the people that were showing up with their immune system shot were gay. So they were thinking shit. And the gay people were marching going, fuck, why are you guys ignoring us? Fucking all these gay people are dying. Don't ignore us. We need funding. We need to find out what the fuck this is. They were making a lot of noise going, why are you guys calling it gay-related immune deficiency? This is bullshit. So they decided to look into it. They took, this is according to Doucheberg, right? They took a bunch of people that were dying of AIDS, and they all did tests on them, and they found out that 40% of them had HIV, of all these people. So just from that report, they just ran with HIV causes AIDS. But they didn't even, no one asked, like, what about the people that didn't have HIV? Why are they still dying of AIDS? They didn't give a shit about that. They just went full blown. We're going to call it AIDS now. We're not going to call it GRID no more.
Really?
And it's, if you got HIV, you're getting
AIDS.
So that's what they thought. So people started getting tested, and people were coming up HIV positive, but they didn't realize that that's not conclusive that HIV causes AIDS, because 60% of them didn't even have HIV.
Yeah.
It was either 40% didn't have HIV and they were still dying of AIDS, or 60%. It's a 60-40 thing. I forget out. It's either way. Either way, not all of the patients that they did the tests on, according to Doucheberg, had HIV. So what the fuck were they dying? How were they getting their immune system shot? So they never really got into that. They just said HIV, boom. So what they ended up doing is when people came up with an HIV positive test result, they would just get them on AZT, which is a medication that they stopped using for cancer patients because it was killing them. The AZT was killing them before the cancer, so they had to shelve the AZT. But now with this new AIDS, they go, let's bring back AZT, and anybody that is test positive for HIV, we'll give them AZT, and the people were dying of AZT, not AIDS. Some of them people, who knows? According to Doucheberg, they were given AZT because they had an HIV positive result. When in reality, they probably would have lived if they would have just figured out how to control the HIV. Yeah. So what they ended up doing, they ended up realizing, okay, they knew that. You know, let's stop AZT. Oh, we got a new cocktail. This is better and it was safer. So they stopped AZT for cancer treatment, and then they stopped it for AIDS or HIV treatment. So there's a lot of an industry blew up, like all the AIDS tests and all this shit.
That's what makes me crazy.
Think they'll ever cure it?
No, there's no money in curing it.
Well, what they found out, according to Doucheberg, is that what was killing their immune system, according to him, was not all. It was generally the hardcore drug users. There's a gay way to use gays use certain drugs like poppers and anal nitrate or amyl nitrate. What is it?
Amyl nitrate.
Amyl nitrate.
Yeah.
And poppers.
It'd be too convenient if it was anal nitrate.
Yes, yes, yeah, of course. You're right. So those, and I'm just going by Doucheberg.
Yeah.
He said those two drugs are very popular amongst gay people to loosen up your rectum to make anal intrusion a lot easier. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why they took it. And then something about amyl nitrate, right when you're having an orgasm and you take it, it's like it's like gays love doing that.
Oh, I didn't know
Nothing
about
wrong with enjoying your sex.
Yeah.
But it was those poppers, those things that make your butt loose, and amyl nitrate, a common, and then, speed, of course, and heavy alcohol use. They found that most of the people that were already dying of AIDS, from their immune system was shot, was from these drugs. It wasn't from HIV. It was actually the drugs. So, that's what Doucheberg says. I don't know. I'm no expert.
My only problem with that is that people, and I haven't seen the study, but there are people who got it through blood transfusions.
They got HIV, right? So when they get HIV, then they put them on AZT, and then they get killed. Was that?
Was that Arthur Ashe? Did he get put on AZT?
I don't know. I don't know.
But he was the first round of guys that got it from blood transfusion.
The big problem was, as soon as someone gets an HIV positive test result, they put them on some hardcore drugs. And the conspiracy theory is that they're dying from the drugs, not from the HIV. The drugs are fucking them. That's why they had to pull AIDS. They don't give AZT out to AIDS patients no more, and they used to. They used to do it for cancer too. They don't do it anymore. Why? Because it's too fucking dangerous.
See,
according to Doucheberg.
I was in Atlanta doing the Laughing Skull. This was a while ago, and I said something about AIDS, and some bunch of people from the Center for Disease Control, CDC, were there, and they said, you know what? And by the way, they work there. They said, what we call a straight guy with AIDS? And I said, what? And they go, a liar. And I went, really? And they're like, it does. Straight guys can't get it.
There's a lot of things that didn't make sense, though. Like when AIDS first came out big, like in the 80s, they were saying by 1992, 1 in 4 Americans between 18 and 25 are going to have AIDS. There was a big scare.
Not one straight guy I know, not one has ever gotten AIDS.
Yeah, me neither.
Not one.
You would think hookers, right? You would think hookers all over Brazil would have AIDS, right?
Dude,
and they don't.
Well, there's a lot down there do have AIDS.
What about the porn industry? Should be rampant with AIDS.
Let me just say one thing though about that. There are straight guys that get AIDS, but they get it through
needles.
Yeah,
I believe that. Yeah,
Remember what AIDS is?
It.
AIDS is your immune system don't work. Like the African kids, the Ethiopians that are getting AIDS, they're calling it AIDS because their immune system doesn't work. But they're getting AIDS from malnutrition, not having food.
Really?
But they still call it AIDS to get aid. There's like some kind of those non-government organizations that are all disguised in philanthropy. You know what I mean? They come in and there's all of them. They have just like an awesome name like Hope for Africa Foundation. Sounds great, but really they're doing some kind of money laundering, some kind of crooked shit going on.
That fucking Africa is a fucking the fact that place exists is mind blowing.
Africa,
dude.
Have you ever been there?
Going on?
Yeah.
Have you been to Liberia?
No, but I spent the night in a shanty town in South Africa.
What?
Yeah, I spent the night in a shanty town.
And went in South Africa, by Johannesburg and all that.
Dude, crazy shit's going on in South Africa right now.
What's going on?
What's going on in South Africa?
Like they're just taking land from farmers now and giving it to people. And it's violence is insane.
Really?
Like farmers are being murdered.
What is the shanty town like?
So
is it white people or
no,
black people?
No, not one white person.
And you were in there?
Yeah, so I went in, spent the night, woke up the next morning, got drunk that night, crazy, ran around, was fun as fuck.
You went by
really
yourself?
Dangerous. No, some guards.
Guards?
Yeah, and my TV show one time, and then another time.
It was
I
for the
went in.
TV show.
Yeah, one time for the TV show, and then one time when I was down there.
What was the premise? Why'd you go there?
We wanted to play soccer with these kids and experience another side of Africa. And we also spent the night in a favela. And so,
Brazil.
yeah, those are even probably sketchier than shanty towns.
Oh, really?
Oh, favelas
in
are
Brazil.
And we went
Scary.
to the safest favela you could go to.
Yeah.
But man, old fucking numbnuts Bert started walking around on his own and got lost.
Oh my
And
God!
Ended up in the middle of this fucking courtyard where it was all houses or apartments going straight up, and in the center, like literally like the wall of your apartment building. In the center was a soccer court, and these kids were playing soccer out there. And I just got down. I was like, let's play soccer. And no one knew where the fuck I was. And then it started getting dark, and I was like, I don't know where the fuck I am. And yeah, the favelas are scary. But in the shantytown, here's what really fucking blew my mind. The next morning, we're leaving. We're getting ready to leave. And this guy's getting chased down the street with a brick. Another guy's got a brick. A couple guys got a brick and a machete, and they're chasing him down the street. And I was like, what the fuck? And one of our guards is walking towards us, and then he goes, he got caught stealing a pillow. I went, really? And they're like, yeah, don't worry, they'll take care of him. They have justice in here. I was like, what are they gonna do? And he's like, oh, they necklace him. They put a tie around his neck and light him on fire. And I was like,
my God,
for stealing a fucking pillow, like. Holy shit. And I was just like, we need to get the fuck out of here. Like I didn't know that. I thought there was this idea that I was safe, and then as soon as I heard that, and they were chasing him right by us, like literally right by us, I was like, there's no safety in this place. Let's get the fuck out.
It's all lottery, man. You get lucky, you're born in a certain place, and it works out. I mean, like, you got to work hard in your life, but obviously, and then some people are born.
Wouldn't it be scary to come back? What if you're born in like, Venezuela or some shit? You know?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, dude, I've seen real poverty in this world. Like Vietnam, we rolled into.
What's the worst you've seen? So you've never been to Liberia. Liberia is supposed to be the worst, right?
They say like all of that. What is it? Ivory Coast? Is that what it is?
Monrovia, I think, is the city in Liberia.
Yeah, those are fucking scary.
Yeah, because I mean, the story is,
are they lawless, right?
The story is that when slavery was abolished, they actually did send a bunch of slaves back to Africa, and they dumped them off in Monrovia, Liberia.
Yeah,
and those Africans, now they're Americanized, they ended up trying to run shit because they had, gangster tactics like the slave owners. So apparently the civil war there has been ongoing since the end of slavery. And this is according to that Vice story where they had Captain Butt Naked. You
yeah,
ever see
General
that one?
Butt Naked. Yeah,
General Butt Naked. So they say the civil war is just like never ending, and it all stems from the American blacks coming back and trying to take control.
Yeah, I think
that's what MS-13 is. We sent a bunch of gangbangers back to El Salvador, and the guy just started running shit, dude. He created MS-13.
Apparently what I've seen on Vice, and I take what I see on Vice with a grain of salt. I think that's kind of mainstream media, sort of. It used to be like alternative, but now it's
whenever they get bought out by a big corporation, it changes it.
Yeah,
they're
totally.
buying the message.
Totally. So that's why I watch it with with some salt. And they said that what were we just talking about?
MS-13.
Oh yeah,
MS-13.
they did a special where they're sending MS-13 guys back to Guatemala or El Salvador, and they're getting killed. Like the cops are killing them. So the story on Vice was like trying to make us feel sorry for the MS-13 guys that are getting sent back, because now that they get sent back, the cops don't want to deal with them, so the cops hunt them down and kill them. So now they're like,
they do that in Brazil. They hunt down kids, all the homeless kids out there. The cops go hunt
Children
them
of the Sun, is that what is it called?
Yeah,
Children of the Sun.
City of God.
Is that what it is?
Yes. City of God.
Dude, that for those favelas, it was the most beautiful view of Brazil I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like we had this hotel room on the very, very, very top, and it just was fucking gorgeous. Some cold beers, sun setting.
Yeah, it's different in Brazil. In the States here, the higher you go up the hills, like the richer you are,
Yeah.
and you pay for them views. You could have a small house on top of over sunset. Shit, that thing could be worth $3 million just because of the view, you know. But in Brazil, the higher you go in the mountains, the more favela you get. So you look at those mountains, and they just got shanty little shacks everywhere. It's scary.
It is crazy.
We went up. I'm gonna fuck this up. Someone would be better to know this. There was a police force that went in and basically used fucking training day tactics on the favelas. It's like called the Star of Death or something. And this guy just basically murdered everyone that was breaking the law. Just went in and fucking murdered
cop?
people. Yeah, this cop or a police force. I'm gonna fuck it up. But anyway, they were our escort in. And so we were. They were like,
the guy who did all that was escorting you in?
Not that actual guy, but their people. So we walked in and we were on set, and we took these guys. We got these kids to take us with motorcycles up to the top, and they drove us up in motorcycles. And this one Brazilian guy had the biggest fucking head in the world, and he was my guy. He was fat as fuck. He had a really big head, and I have a really big head. And we got up to the top, and I knew that we were getting a ride out of there. We didn't need the motorcycles to get us down. And I just got a brand new helmet, like a fucking $400 helmet, motorcycle helmet from the Travel Channel. And I looked at him, I said, try it on. And he tries it on, and it fits. And he's still got it on. I go, it's yours. And he flips out the thing, smiling. And he's like, yeah. I go, it's yours. And just took off. Before I could change my mind, just took off. Yeah, the one in Vietnam, we walked into a village that they had never seen a white guy. Right?
What?
Yeah, they had never seen a white guy, and they had never seen a white guy with a beard. Like, they don't grow beards in Vietnam. So when I came out of the jungle with this big fucking beard, they were like, Chupacabra!
Yeah.
And like just ran, and the kids
Fucking
were terrified
Bigfoot.
of me. And so I went into the kids, and my fixer TT was like, they're scared of your beard. They think you're a wolf. And I was like, oh, tell him to come here. And so then one kid wanted to touch it, and I let him touch my beard. And as soon as he did it, I went, grrr, and they all started laughing, and then they all wanted to touch my beard. And then I just went in. Of course, you know me, I travel with Skittles and fucking candy in my backpack. That's all I had in my backpack. So I emptied out my backpack, all the candy, and gave it to them, and they were like losing it.
You're becoming like Vietnam Santa.
Oh,
Have you guys heard of the tortilla flats? Do you guys know that story?
No.
When you're talking about the guys going in and just wrecking shop. For the longest time, the Mexican community in Los Angeles would not go to Dodgers games.
Oh, yeah.
Because when the Dodgers came to LA, they basically there was this one area of LA where it was the only place illegals were allowed to live. And when the Dodgers came from New York, they decided they're going to put Dodger Stadium right there. So they went straight up like Nazi kicking doors, you know, just grabbing families, throwing them out of the houses, knocking down all the buildings to build
Shit.
Dodger Stadium.
What?
So the Dodgers,
What year was that?
Gestapo, I
like
think this was in the 50s.
50s. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big.
There was Mexicans back then? No, I'm kidding.
Mexicans wouldn't go celebrate the Dodgers, and you know what changed it? Fernando Valenzuela. When he came and they had a Fernando like mania, that's when the Mexicans came back to the Dodgers. But we did that shit in LA. Coming in, just kicking the doors, man. Throwing people out, burning down their buildings.
Yeah, because they wanted that land for Dodger Stadium.
Was it like a sanctuary little village?
Well, no, it was the only place they would allow illegals to move to.
What was the name of that city?
They called it Tortilla Flats.
Oh, shit.
Because it was all Mexicans.
What's his name? I want to say Frank Castillo or Jesus Trejo. I toured with two dudes who were Mexican, and they told me about this. I think it was Frank was saying that his grandfather had to go in and kick out his own people. One of them told me that. Like they hired Mexicans to go in too, and they were like, "Fucking, we got to build a stadium, guys." That's fucked up.
Yeah.
But now you go to a Dodger game.
It's all Mexicans with horrible face tattoos.
On the menu, you go to the snack bar and they got Doyer burgers.
Yeah.
Or Doyer dogs.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Isn't that crazy?
You could order a Doyer dog.
They love the Dodgers.
Yes.
Mexicans love the Dodgers.
My grandfather he'd never miss a Dodger.
I love
Really?
Never. My grandfather never he snuck over the border in the 60s. like mid-60s. He crossed the border illegally. But even though my grandmother was a citizen, my grandmother was born in Santa Barbara, and she was an American citizen. Then at 12, her parents moved her back to Mexico. She married my grandfather at 15. They had a few kids, and then they wanted to come to the States. They could have just walked across the border, but my grandfather wanted to earn his citizenship like on his own. He's like machismo to the max. So he
went Rambo?
So he snuck across the border and earned his, started cutting grass and shit and earned his green card. But he was partying a little too much. And he wasn't ready for the family to come to the States. And then my grandma found out that he had his green card already, and it was time. But he was bullshitting and telling her that any day now, any day. Meanwhile, he's partying in San Diego and shit on the beach, get hammered. And then my grandma just showed up with 5 kids at Tijuana and said, "Come pick us up. It's time." So
who is your dad Mexican?
Dad's Mexican, mom's Mexican.
So you're 100% Mexican?
Mexican as fuck. Yeah. But my Spanish is horrible. I was the first of the grandkids to start to lose Spanish. Very shameful.
There was a time when you were supposed to assimilate. So, like people would move here and, they'd keep their culture, but the whole thing was about to melt and blend in.
Yeah.
That was my mom's generation. My grandparents, they were proud to be Armenians, but they were like trying to become American. Everybody on my grandfather or my great grandfather, they all changed their name from Tripoli to Triple, so to be more American. Like the whole thing about keeping your culture, which I have no problems with, but that's a very new thing.
Tripoli sounds Italian.
It is Italian.
Okay.
My mother's Bedouin.
So your mother's Italian?
My mother's Armenian, and her last name is Bedouin.
Okay.
And my dad's Italian.
Your dad is full-blown Italian?
Italian Sicilian.
Okay.
Wait, who started the Armenian genocide?
Turkish.
The Turks.
The fucking Turks.
I was in England, London with Patrice. No, Scotland, and they were doing a chant.
Patrice the comedian?
Yeah.
Oh, he's great. I love that guy.
And they were doing a chant. I'd rather be a Paki than a Turk. Dunk, dunk. I'd rather be a Paki than a Turk. And we were like, what is? I neither of us really understood. And they were like, oh, I'd rather be Pakistani than Turkish. And we were like, or Turk. And we were like, what the fuck kind of chant is this? And Patrice is like, they're just as racist as we are.
Yeah.
They throw bananas at black soccer players.
Oh, dude,
they throw bananas.
Soccer hooligans are the worst. We like to think that they're all Raider fans. That's
what kids. I'm obsessed with this premise that people in Canada and England go, you guys are so obsessed with race, but I think we mask our hatred of socioeconomic people, like people in lower socioeconomic classes. We mask it with race. And they don't do that there. They don't have as much diversity, so they just go, oh, we don't like poor people, right?
Where?
In England, like they have poor people too. No one likes poor people. That's the whole premise that I'm obsessed with. George got in the car. My oldest got in the car recently. She had played a softball game against a group of Mexican girls that were really tough. Like they were from the barrio. The dad's a cholo.
They would have danced at the other place. What was it? The
Jets. They would have danced at Jets.
Yeah, they would have been Jet dancers.
And what the dad was doing is no matter what the girls did, he'd go run the bases, force the error. So the girl would bunt, and then she'd run around and make a home run because the white girls would just panic. Throw the ball into right field. They'd fucking take it, throw it into fucking the third base dugout. And so we get in the car, and George is whimpering in the back. And I was like, what's the matter? She was like, I think I'm racist. I was like, what? She goes, I don't like Mexicans. I go, no, you don't like poor people. You just think they're Mexican because you saw that's just poor people. And then I said to her, and I said this to her this morning because I'm
That is so funny, dude.
I said to her this morning, I said, I want to do this as a bit, but I'm going to have to say that you said that you didn't like Mexicans. Is that going to bother you? And she was like, yeah, maybe, because I go to school with a lot of Mexicans, Dad. And she's like, maybe next year when I go to private school, but not right now. and so I said, and then in the car I said to her, I go, it doesn't have anything to do with race. I go, you know, the type of people that come to your house and they don't pay for anything and they eat all the good snacks right away and then they eat all the good drinks, and when you go out to eat, they never offer to pay. And Georgie goes, oh, you mean Mom's family? I went, yeah, they're poor people. You don't like poor people.
That is so funny, dude.
But it's all around this world. No one likes poor people. You know?
Yeah.
And like they have it in England, but they just happen to be white, so they don't have racism. But in our country, our media has taken it to make it look like the black people are the poor people, the Mexicans are the
classism.
Poor people.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Is that a word?
It's very interesting that, you know, they act like we're the only ones who care about race. I know in comedy they don't like to hear racial jokes that much, but I think that
exhausting.
our society in America, we have been brainwashed and basically beat down into everything is racial.
Yeah.
And that's so we don't get along and we don't pay attention to what's going on. And that's my honest opinion, man.
But I think it's beautiful to, you know, for them, the psychopaths that run the world. I think it's brilliant. Just start mixing a bunch of fucking different races. And then as long as they're fighting, it doesn't matter if it's about race, if it's about politics, or if it's about religion. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The main goal is to get them to fight. It doesn't matter why they're fighting. Trump, Hillary.
Do you believe there's like an Illuminati that's running things, that's kind of pulling the strings?
Can I say something, dude?
Yeah.
There are 8 families that own pretty much the Federal Reserve. They own almost all of both every state's centralized bank.
Really?
Okay. And these 8 families own the biggest chunks of every Fortune 500 company. So they literally own everything. And that makes me feel that television is just a shell game, because these people own the channels and they own the people advertising on the channels. So it's just a move of money type thing, dude. I mean, when you take a look at it, it is insane. And everybody wants to blame Rothschilds. I think they're the boogeyman. They're one of them, but they're used as the bad guys. There's people even above them. This black nobility people, they're out of Italy. Have you heard of them? They're the
black nobility.
They're called black nobility, man, and nobody knows them, because that's how you know they got real power, because nobody talks about them. They are old banking families from Rome. They've been around since Rome, dude.
Wow.
And they are like the real G's, dude. And the Rothschilds are one of them. You know, then the royal family. It's so funny watching everybody celebrate the royal family. You're like, Queen Elizabeth was literally just found guilty of the disappearance and pretty much the death of like 10 orphan children. In a world court, she was convicted.
Wait, for real?
She'll never be, ever.
You'll never know about it because the media covers up. But there's so much shit going on in politics right now. I've never been so deep into politics.
Dude, the royal family backed the Nazis.
You'll just never hear about it. There's so much going on. There's so many people in politics, so many people getting fired, switching jobs. All these like in politics, I mean, deputy of House Intelligence Committee, special counsel, Senate minority leader. There's so many politicians and all these lawyers and prosecutors in the Department of Justice. They get so many people. It's not just Trump and Pence, and then then before him it was Obama. There's a shitload of people. It's like Game of Thrones, trying to really follow politics, what's really going on. Yeah. There's a whole shitload of people, and have you heard of QAnon? You know,
no.
Q Anonymous.
Man, that's a long story. Shit, there's just so much going on. You know, Rosenstein, McCabe, the new CIA director, that Gina Haspel. There's all these
crazy is that
there's so much shit going on, man, that you'll never see, and they never report on it because it's nothing but shady shit. All these people, every one of them,
if they
I'd say
really,
90%, they are not waking up in the morning trying to figure out what to do for the people.
My girlfriend.
It's all just how are you going to maintain power, maintain power, keep the power, and get as much money as you can, and have your own little racket. Like everyone's got their own little gun running racket. It's like when you retire from politics, you have your little drug running racket, little gun running racket. You're selling guns that the taxpayers paid for. You're selling guns that you didn't even pay for, and then you're selling them on the black market. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's really what's going on. Everyone's a little gun runner, and all these people in power, and they all got their little shady shit going on, you know.
And they're doing all the Russian stuff. I mean, maybe they heard something when they spied on him and they wiretapped him. You know, maybe they did hear something. I don't know, but they got to push a Russian narrative, because to call Trump on what you really want to call him on, they don't want to do that, because the people who signed their checks, I mean, when I say they, MSNBC and Fox and all them, you'll never hear them report on any real shit, because the people who sign their checks are also doing that too. So they have to create a boogeyman type thing. Yeah. Like the Russians affected the election. It's hilarious.
What's crazy is, you know, Fox News has always been known as fake news, and same thing with MSNBC and CNN. They're the godfathers of that. That's like a joke now, you know. But you know, Fox would always give you the bullshit about the Republicans, and then MSNBC and CNN are all about the liberals, right? But in this situation that we got going on now with Trump, because the liberals have done so many illegal things, the illegal surveillance of Trump by our intelligence agencies.
Dude, they put plants on him.
Yeah, all that shit. The liberals did so much to fuck with Trump. Illegal shit. That's what's coming out today.
Yeah.
Today it's coming out.
It's all
it's coming out today.
FISA
so all
memo, all that shit.
So now, because they went after Trump so hard and left a fucking trail of messages and all these texts back and forth that prove that the FBI, CIA, Department of Justice, Hollywood, the Hillary campaign, all of the podestas, they all colluded to do anything to bring Trump down and not let him win.
Hillary,
so all that's coming out. Money. All that shit's coming out. All those emails that Hillary bleached. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
People thought, and I thought, she got away with it. Look, nobody's fucking indicting her. No one's going after her. You know why? Because she had they're all on the same team. All the senior leaders of the FBI, Department of Justice, they're not going to touch anything Hillary's protected. So what according to
there is a real hatred between Hillary and Trump, and
of course,
usually it's like pro wrestling, in my opinion. You know that there's a Vince McMahon who has both of the candidates.
Bill Clinton and George Senior. That was WWF. That was WWF. Yeah. They're like they're partners in crime. Bill Clinton worked for George Senior. George Senior is like one of the top dogs.
Oh, he is
George Senior is one of the top.
Really,
and while he was vice president, Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas.
Yep.
So. George Bush, as a vice president, former director of the CIA, the president is Ronald Reagan. They try to kill him and just put George Senior right in at the top.
Do you know the Hinckley family were very close friends with the Bushes?
Yeah.
No.
Hinckley's father is Old Oil from Texas. George Bush is quoted saying they're friends.
For real?
Yeah. If you take out Reagan, who becomes president?
George Senior. So during
he's associated with 2 assassination attempts on presidents.
Yeah. So while George Senior was the vice president in the 80s, waiting to take over, Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas. So they were running cocaine and arms through Arkansas because they had Bill was part of the
Arkansas
gang.
was ranked 50th in everything. Nobody pays attention to Arkansas.
Exactly. So Mena, Arkansas, you can go to YouTube and just punch in Mena, Arkansas, Bill Clinton. He was responsible for he's the governor. He was letting George Senior run guns to Central America.
Yeah.
And then they bring back coke. I mean, that's real. They just made a movie about it.
Yeah.
Barry Seals with Tom Cruise. And apparently I haven't seen it because I don't, when you watch historical movies, it's
There's
propaganda. There's the propaganda. So I wouldn't even watch it. But Joe said it was good. So I might go back and watch it.
It's a good movie.
But when you know the real Barry Seals, and like I've been obsessed with the Clintons for the last 15 years.
Really?
Oh man!
Gangsters,
when you find out the war of the war on drugs, like our government is like, we dare to keep kids off drugs. The war on drugs. They started the war on drugs. They're bringing in the guns. They're bringing in the drugs more than any of the cartels. Cartels are bringing in drugs too. Cartels are bringing in drugs, but not as much as the CIA. They bust a cartel here and there, just to make it look like they're they're trying to, but they're bringing it in.
Yeah.
So we're our government,
Dude,
is bringing in the drugs. So when you find that out,
Heroin?
I was just obsessed with. Wait a minute, I thought you guys were trying to stop cocaine.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are bringing it in.
And that's documented.
That's some evil shit. That's
yeah,
evil
dude.
Shit. Oh, crazy documented.
Yeah.
The Iran-Contra hearings. That's what it was all about.
Yeah.
But they kept George Senior. He's the main dude. But in all the hearings, they kept him out of it. They kept the boss out. So they're like, who's going to take the fall? You know. So Oliver North came up and he was like, okay, he's going to be the fucking fall guy. So the Iran-Contra hearings they had to come out and do them. You know what I mean? Just because they know people forget, and they thought, you know what? I guess George Senior, you know, even though they kept him out of it, it just seemed like, you know, too many people knew that he was the boss. So maybe we should bring in another presidential candidate. And then they just decided, fuck it. You know what? Just run for president. You're gonna win anyway. So they have control of the media. They can make anything happen. When you have control of the media, you can make anybody believe anything. Like if you wanted to, if you controlled CNN, you could make people believe that Santa Claus really did go to everyone's house at night and deliver presents. You can get people to believe. You'd have to start slow though. You have to start slow. If it was Operation Let's Get People to Believe in Santa Claus, you say Rudolph the reindeer's bones were found in Lithuania in some cave. You know what I mean? You just started off with that. Plant the seed that there really was. And he goes, yeah, I heard there was a Santa Claus. It was actually a Saint Nick. That actually was based on oh really? And he did have a reindeer? Yeah. You put that shit on CNN, people are like, you know, they'd be at work on, you hear they found fucking Rudolph the reindeer's fucking bones, bro. Like, oh yeah, we knew that. You know, then people would be pretending like they knew all along. The people that were criticizing people that believed in Santa Claus, now that instead of going, you fucking believe in Santa Claus, you fucking idiot, it's for kids. Now they're going, oh yeah, we knew that. There was really a Saint Nick. You know, that's how people like that.
You know what's
the moon deniers, the moon landing deniers, they'll say you're crazy. We went to the moon, you're crazy. And then all the evidence comes out that they faked it. Then people go, oh yeah, they faked it. It was we were having a space race with Russia. You know what I mean?
I find that people don't keep score. Like literally, they move on. So let's take a look at when we invaded Iraq and they lied about weapons of mass destruction, right?
Yeah,
just blatantly lied.
Yeah,
that's
the excuse. The excuse is always they're trying to figure out nuclear bombs. That's the perfect excuse because everybody thinks nuclear bombs are like the most evil thing ever. You know, everyone thinks like we were brought up to think that in the United States there was a big red button here, and then Russia they had a big red button, and the presidents had the power to press this red button, and then the world's gonna explode.
Yeah.
That's what people fucking were brought up believing. We believe that shit.
Right.
We believe that shit. Just the belief alone is all you need.
And they lie about that. And nobody keeps score on that.
If they want to invade any country, all they got to say is those motherfuckers, they're trying to build nuclear bombs.
Do you know they're doing the exact same argument right now for Iran?
Of course.
But they're not televising it here?
Really?
Like this Nina Harley, whatever her name is.
I just saw something about Iran in the news today.
She is literally using the exact same argument they used to invade Iraq to invade Iran right now.
It's perfect.
But
North
they're
Korea,
not televising it here because they know people will be like, you fucking lied about before. You're full of shit. So they're not even telling anybody this.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, crazy shit going on right now.
There's so much
Obama
shit going on.
and
It's like Game of Thrones is actually really going on in
Pfizer,
Washington
the
D.C.
Pfizer
You know how many characters? If you turn someone on, you watch Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
How long would it take? How many episodes would it take to figure out all the characters and what's going on? It would take like 2 or 3 seasons, right?
Oh yeah. I still
You wouldn't even know the
watching.
names. Like what's that prince's name again? You wouldn't even fucking know. And that's what's going on in Washington D.C. There's a whole shitload of people, and there's those Hillary the Anthony Weiner hard drive where they said they found him sexting a 15-year-old. That's nothing.
that's
nothing.
not even real, dude.
Yeah.
Let's think about who.
There's way worse. There's some
dude.
Crazy shit going on in that hard drive.
Anthony Weiner was a huge politician. He went to jail for texting a chick. Do you really think that's what happened?
No.
Come on, man. There was some dark shit on that, and he cut a deal, and that's what they said it was.
Yeah. They go, we're going to have to say something. But what's going... This is the QAnon thing. This is what's going on. Obviously, everybody's against Trump. NBC, CNN, everybody. But since he's a Republican, Fox is like on Trump's side.
Yeah.
So with this certain situation that's going on, it seems like Trump wasn't even, there's video of him saying he's not even Republican. He goes, if I ever ran for president, I'd be a Republican because, that'd be an easy, I could easily, he thinks like, I think he made some kind of reference to them being stupid. It'd be easy to fool them or something like that. He did something like that. So he's probably not even really a Republican deep down, but he knows if he would have ran as like an independent, he probably wouldn't have made it.
Never get the vote.
So anyways, because he's a Republican officially now with this unique situation we got with Trump, Fox is having a field day because it's true that the FBI, well, it seems like it is, allegedly, and it seems like all this stuff's coming out now. Certain senior members at the FBI, not the whole organization. There's a lot of good people in the FBI and the CIA as well. There's people that just want to fight for their country. They
love America.
Yeah, they love America and they truly want to fight for the country. And then you got your corrupt people in intelligence. So the corrupt people got together and they wanted to make sure Trump didn't win, but he won anyways. So now there's all this evidence that they broke a lot of laws. You can't have the FBI
We're talking
surveilling
Watergate on
a
steroids.
presidential candidate. You can't have that shit.
No, they even spied on him after he won.
Yeah. So what's going down right now is they're all going to get busted. And now Fox News, which was generally fake news, now they're like, it's obviously there's still crazy bias, but they're saying more truthful shit now than ever. Like you watch Fox News and they're basically confirming QAnon. Q is a guy deep in the Trump administration who is, what they decided to do is since the media is totally bashing Trump and he can never get out what he really, they always show clips of Trump talking out of context. Like last week, CBS aired something that said they made it seem like he was talking about Mexicans, and he said, "Yeah, we're deporting them at a high rate. They're animals. They're vicious animals, and we just want to deport them." So CBS and MSNBC, they aired it like he was talking about Mexicans, but he was talking about MS-13. It was clear because you could watch videos of the whole thing and then the shit that CBS shows, just parts of it, and they blasted it like, and I understand how these libtards are getting crazy, going fuck Trump. Yeah, because if he really did say Mexicans are fucking animals and we're gonna deport them, hell yeah, I would say, you know what, he is crazy. We need to get him the fuck out of here. But he wasn't saying that. But most people don't know that. So that's a perfect example of what they do there. They could take video of you and make you look like a child molester. You know what I mean? There's a guy on Instagram. He's at Rogan God. He took a conversation that Joe had on his podcast with some chick, and they were talking about like the sexual allegations going on with that happened with like Louis C.K. and all that stuff, and some dude edited it to make it look, it's hilarious, at Rogan God, it made it look like Joe on his podcast is getting super creepy with this chick. It's all edited and it makes Joe look like a fucking just a creepy predator. Yeah. But obviously it was edited. It's funny. Yeah. That's what they do to Alex Jones. That's what they do to Trump all the time. They edit it, make it out. So when you watch it, you're like, oh my God, this motherfucker's the president. It's the craziest motherfucker ever. When in reality, Trump, yes, he's arrogant, he's pompous, full of pride, talks a lot of shit, but the QAnon plan, the plan is, there's a team behind Trump. Trump was chosen by the military, high-ranking intelligence officers in the military to clean up Washington D.C. Apparently, the child trafficking is just out of control, and it's a big business. It's a big business in Washington D.C. It's huge. Is that the Pizzagate? All that shit.
Pizzagate was put out to basically make it look discredited.
No, it wasn't like that.
No, Pizzagate. Well, the
Pizzagate, all that shit. When you look into it, they made everybody think, because they have control of the media, they made everybody think it was a hoax, but it wasn't a hoax. They call it
Pizzagate, and people go, oh, he's doing this in the basement. It doesn't even have a basement. Yeah, it does have a basement. There's pictures of the basement.
Yeah. When you look into Pizzagate,
I don't even really know.
But they made everybody think that it was a hoax. The control of the media is everything. They control everything. They can make you think. They can make you think the Santa Claus is real.
Did you see that video with Sinclair video where This guy edited everything together where this one company owns pretty much half of the local news stations.
Yeah.
And they would tell everybody exactly what to say, and they would say it verbatim, and therefore it spread everywhere. So the Clintons deregulated the media. And everyone's like, why are you doing it? They're like, oh, this will be good for competition. No, it allowed it to consolidate. So now 5 people or 6 companies own all the media.
And all the news, they're reading off a script. And, you know, a whole shitload of news stations, local news stations all over the world. They have the exact same script.
Yeah, and there's no benefit for a newscaster who's not that creative in the first place. All they're really good at is looking good and reading out loud.
Yeah.
There's no benefit for them to question.
No. They're not coming up with shit. They're not doing journalism.
That's not that. The newscaster type is more a sheep person.
Yes.
Who likes to be led. Who doesn't want to question anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Just wants to be given a job, security. Same thing with hosts.
Easy job. Oh, it's an easy job.
Yeah.
That's a great way
You're not
to
really
shut
a
people up.
reporter, you're a
Someone
host,
starts
yeah.
talking too loud. They offer them shows. You want a show? You have a lot of potential. Then they get you locked into a show. Now you don't want to lose that show. Now you got to fucking play ball by our rules. That's how they do it. They give them shows.
When I was on Travel Channel, I never would smoke pot on camera, and so it never looked like I smoked pot. And Joe would be like, "Are you being fucking serious?" Like Brian would cut the camera off me, and I'd take a hit of a joint and pass it around because I didn't want to get fired.
Yeah.
It's man, a paycheck is a great silencer.
Yeah, for sure. Joe would smoke weed and in front of the Fear Factor producers, and he didn't give a shit. He would have like pot lollipops and shit.
Yeah.
You guys, keep going. I have to go because I have to get ready for my show tonight.
Well, here, what time is it? It's 5:30. We've done about an hour and a half. You guys
Have
want
we?
to?
We did an hour and a half?
Yeah, we've
Holy
done an
shit,
hour and a
okay,
half.
we're good.
I don't want you.
No,
you
hang
guys
on.
are cooking with
I
gas.
want to talk about your tour.
Oh,
because
cool.
I'm releasing this tonight.
Okay.
So that because you guys are going on tour this weekend.
We have 3 dates.
We have our first show is Friday night at the Comedy Store, and then we have 2 dates coming up. And if they do well, they're gonna let us do some tours. So.
Well, I want to make sure
tell
everyone comes out to see it. So what's the show?
Basically, it's a comedy and conspiracy night. Live Nation wanted to put out a show. Eddie talked to them, and they want to do a tour of conspiracy comics, talking conspiracies, because the numbers, more and more people come to us over time than buy into the propaganda bullshit. So more and more people are coming. You know, my Tinfoil Hat podcast keeps getting better and better, bigger.
It's a great podcast.
Oh, thank you, dude.
It's a great podcast, and I mean, Eddie, you have to know you're probably everyone's foremost favorite conspiracy theorist.
Oh shit!
Like,
see, I don't want to be.
Love when I saw you talking
that.
about the flat Earth. I was like, I love to hear I love to hear it. I like hearing different ideas than the ones I have. That's why I
love that too, dude.
I don't understand people who don't like hearing new ideas. I follow the feminist chick who challenged Norton online. I follow people I wouldn't normally hang out with because I like hearing new ideas. And I just remember, I don't know what it was like right after that whole flat Earth thing went down on a Fight Companion. And watching everyone lose their mind, and you holding, I was like dying. I love that shit.
People want to be right, you know, and people accuse me of just wanting to be right, and I believe in flat Earth because I'm trying to be cool or something like that, and it's. Being a flat earther is definitely not cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely not
take a lot of shit.
Oh man, you know what I mean? That's so not cool.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of flat earth people in the closet. They're in the flat earth closet.
Yeah.
A lot of people come up to me. People that I've had on my podcast that were super respected in their field. Off camera, they go, dude, it is fucking flat. But they don't want it to ruin what they got going, because as soon as you say or question all the space information that's given to us by NASA, as soon as you start questioning that, people think you're a lunatic. So, and then
NASA was started by Nazis.
It discredits your whatever you're an expert in. Like I know some 9/11 experts. They know every fuck. 9/11 is the Game of Thrones on its own.
Yeah.
There's so much going. It's so deep.
Like
You could have a 12-hour documentary on all the evidence from 9/11, right? And then people spend so much time on that, they feel that if they start talking about flat Earth, that it's going to discredit all their work. Same thing with JFK guys and that assassination.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's like 10 of Game of Thrones. Fuck, dude, JFK, it's huge.
That's how Trump
There's
wins
so much
everything.
shit.
If
There's so
Trump
much
just
shit.
said this is what information we have on JFK.
Well, the JFK thing, this is the craziest thing. Is they already, the House Intelligence Committee on Assassinations, I think I said that right, in 1978 or 79, they finally reopened the JFK case to see if it was a conspiracy or not, see if there was more people involved. And they said it's already done. They said, yes, it was a conspiracy. But then the media never talked about that ever. So so the whole JFK thing, do you believe it was a lone nut that shot JFK,
No.
or was there a team of motherfuckers?
team.
Of course, there was a whole.
And they
shitload
told
of
not to
people.
release
Oh,
the papers. Do you know? Because
But they already
some
proved
people
it.
are lied. They're talking about one dude,
Who?
George Bush Sr.
Oh, for real?
Dude, he was in Dallas that day.
His dad, Prescott Bush, formed the CIA. His dad
Funded Nazis,
funded
worked
Nazis
directly
through
with
Union
the Nazis.
Bank. Prescott Bush, that dude was fucking Illuminati to the gills. And then his dad, Prescott Bush's dad, George Sr.'s grandfather, Samuel Bush, was the right-hand man of Frank Rockefeller. They were all balls deep in back then at the turn of the 19th century. It was all about fucking who owned the railroads.
There's evidence
You know
Hitler
what I mean?
didn't
The
die.
railroads were everything. Steel, that's when fucking Pittsburgh, Cleveland, the steel was whoever owned the Rockefeller. He basically, all the Rockefellers. I mean, they basically ran the states and then became. They went under the Rothschild wings. Like the Rothschilds were controlling the Rockefellers, and they got the Rockefellers from just being into oil and shit. They got them into international banking too.
Yeah.
So
House of Saud.
It's a super rich, not even rich. Rich is not the word. What black comedian was talking about? There's rich and then there's wealthy. I think
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the shows are, we got this Friday, but I think it's sold out. It's
The
just
Belly Room sold out?
Yeah. And then we have June 1st at Cobbs. Tickets are going pretty good. And then we have June 2nd.
in San Francisco. June 1st, San Francisco at
and
Cobbs.
June 2nd
That's Friday.
at Punchline in Sacramento.
Now, is it just you two? Or are you guys bringing in local
we got
comics?
a couple other guys. Ryan.
We got a buddy
Ryan
of ours
Davis.
from Vegas that's in the conspiracies who's really funny. And then my co-host is going to be just wrangling everything.
So are you guys going to be on stage with mics, or are you guys going to
We're gonna
go up
do-
one at a time?
stand up one at a time, and then we're going to do a
Oh,
podcast
that's
at
going
the
to be
end.
fucking great.
Q&A and all that stuff. I'm really excited about it, dude. And
It's a Tower 7 and over show. Like if you're not down with Tower 7, you won't be allowed in. You got that. You got at least.
You gotta look at Building 6. That's my whole thing.
Yeah. but-
Tower 7 and over show.
Yeah, Tower 7's bottom of the barrel conspiracy theory. Because flat Earth, I get it. It sounds nuts. I thought when I first heard it, I thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever. I get it. When
Yeah.
people get mad and pissed off, I was getting mad and pissed off when people bring up flat Earth to me. I tell people shut the fuck up with that shit. I felt like I lost soldiers when they come up to me and they told me, I go, I can't trust any fucking thing you say now. Flat fucking Earth. Are you kidding? But so I understand that you don't have to be into flat Earth. But if you believe Tower 7 came down, collapsed at free fall speed because of some office fires, you need to go. You need to stay home and watch some CNN.
I love that. That's a great. Are you using that on the flyers?
You should.
Tower 7 and over.
We have a sign that says 21 and over. Those blacks. We got a sign that says Tower 7 and over.
That's awesome.
I'm dying to know who's going to grab tickets and just go to a show and just show up and we're just doing fucking.
Well, don't we have a
pedal
contest going on in San Francisco?
Yeah.
What's the contest?
Whoever brings the most people whoever wrangles the most people, they get to come back and do a podcast with us and smoke a ton of weed.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
that's a
gonna be
big room.
fucking
That's like
awesome.
400 people. So,
a big room.
So if we sell out San Francisco and Sacramento, June 1st, June 2nd, then Live Nation is gonna put us on like a little mini tour, maybe 6 dates.
Yeah.
And then so we got their support. Maybe they'll drop us because of the conspiracy theories. Who knows?
I just want to get it out there though.
We're not out there protesting anything. We're not trying to get anybody arrested.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to open up any minds at this show. This is all, we're just making fun. We're making fun of conspiracy theories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to preach. We're just, it's really easy to make fun of flat earthers. Oh my God, that's fucking easy. Oh my God. So, we're not trying to open up any minds at all. We just want people that have open minds already to come to the show, and we'll just poke fun at each other. I'm not trying to be a martyr. I'm not trying to be Martin Luther King. I'm not trying to be none of that, man. I don't want a sitcom. I don't want to be on TV. I just want to go up on stage every now and then and talk a little shit.
That's why the one thing I have to say is that when I was in the back, I saw you go up at the store, I think on probably Sam's show, and I was sitting in the back, I was like, holy fuck. Like, he's fucking amazing.
What?
Like, I didn't expect you. I
sucked there.
No, but I didn't expect you to be able to do anything on stage. I was like, they're like, he hasn't been on stage in like 12 years. And you went up and you just fucking flowed. And someone's like, he teaches classes every day. He's very comfortable speaking in front of people. And I went, oh my God. Like, I totally forgot. And I was like, you did great. You did fantastic. And I was like,
oh shit.
Yeah, your stage
that's
presence
huge.
was fucking phenomenal.
That's huge. Well, for me, I did stand up a little bit. Remember, it was all about the music. He's got to go, right?
Hey, what time am I going up tonight?
You're going up about 4th after Dr. Ken before Joe Rogan.
Okay, so second to last?
No, dude.
Wait, who goes last?
Ryan Stickler.
Okay, all right, cool.
So it's going to go like the 5 minutes both for the employees. Then Baron Vaughn, Dr. Ken, you.
Okay, perfect.
Beautiful.
No, we'll get it. We'll get it later. We'll screen grab it from here.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. I'll see you. What time, Sam? Like 8, 9 o'clock?
At 8:30, you probably go up around like 9:15ish.
All right, I'll see you at 9.
I love you.
All right, I love you too.
So just to finish what I was saying was, it was always about the music. Came to Hollywood to do music. I was always obsessed with comedy. I was the biggest stand-up comedy fan. I would tape. It was all about the music, but my hobbies were taping comedy shows and taping fights. So I was always into fighting as a hobby and into comedy as a hobby. And then when I met Joe, he said, "Dude, you should probably do some comedy, man. You know how to tell stories." And I'm like, you think I could?
You're
do
really
it?
great on stage.
Thank you. I think I suck, but
I think we all think
what
we
ended up
suck.
happening was, I started doing some open mics at the Comedy Store, and I realized, just like jiu-jitsu, damn, this is just like jiu-jitsu. You got to put a lot of work into. You got to spend a lot of time. And at that point, I was thinking, shit, I'm trying to make it in music. I'm doing jiu-jitsu. Do I have time to be a stand-up comedian? So then I decided to step away from doing stand-up and just like write sketches with Joe. So I go, you know what? Instead of trying to master getting on stage and being this comedian, because at that point I wasn't teaching jiu-jitsu, so I had no speaking experience.
When did you start?
No public speaking experience. Only strip club DJ experience, which doesn't help you be a stand-up comedian at all. No. But so then I just started writing sketches with Joe. Then we started doing the Man Show. Then I started writing for Comedy Central with the Man Show. Yeah. I was with Joe for a while. Terrible, horrible experience. While I was working at the at Comedy Central, during that nightmare experience, I went to Brazil and I beat Hoyler. That's when it all happened. So when I came back, I walked off the set of Man Show and I was like, fuck that, I'm gonna teach jiu-jitsu. I hated working for Comedy Central. Couldn't fucking stand it. The situation I was in, that's an hour story. But anyways, so then I came back from Brazil and I just opened up 10th Planet and I'm like, I walked away from comedy. But I never stopped writing. So I thought one day I'm gonna go back on stage, and then I'd write some more. And one day I never went back. So then, last year, it's like 15 years later or something like that. I don't even know. Something like that. I decided, you know what? I got all this material that I've been writing all these years. Let me see if some of it works. So maybe. Yeah. So I've been used to teaching, and every now and then I try to throw a little bit in and I'll tell a story. And sometimes it works in jiu-jitsu, but that's the worst crowd because they don't want to hear stand-up. They want to do jiu-jitsu. They worked all day. They come to class. They don't want to hear me trying to do stand-up in class. So I'm bombing like every night in jiu-jitsu. I'll tell a story. In the middle of the story, I get some guys going, Coach, it's 9:15. Come on, man. We're trying to get... They start warming up, before I command them to start warming up. Yeah. So I'm bombing every night. And they don't want to do jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So I thought, is this good enough training to try stand up again? 15 years of teaching, is that good? Is that going to translate to stand up? Because sometimes when I do seminars, I travel to a city, they want to hear 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I'll start off the seminar and they want to hear it when I'm on the road, but only 5 minutes. And then, so when I decided to try it again last year, Sam put me on one of his comedy chaos shows, and I was like, dude, I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. I just had a couple ideas. I went out there, and as soon as I grabbed the mic and I talked into the first thing I thought was like, oh my God, I got a mic. They're drunk and they don't want to do jiu-jitsu. This is going to be easy. That's how I felt. The first time I went up, I'm like, that was like trying to tell jokes in jiu-jitsu class is like training for a fight, like dragging logs up hills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing some resistance training. Because man, that's like the worst crowd ever. Dudes who want to do jiu-jitsu and they don't want their instructor to be funny. Like, a couple guys would laugh, but they're just like, I would throw some good shit every now and then, and they would not laugh, and I'd have to go, in jiu-jitsu, like, is this thing on? Is this thing on? I'd have to resort to that, But once I found out that all 15 years of teaching and doing public speaking did translate, because that's what I was missing when I first started doing stand-up. I didn't have the public speaking experience. I wasn't comfortable talking in front of people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't do that well. I mean, I went up like 10 times back like in 2001, maybe 3 times I did all right, but most of the time I bombed. I mean, I bombed. Yeah, I didn't do great. I wasn't never killing any. I just didn't. I needed more experience. I knew that I could get to a point where I'd be okay and kind of just like manage and blend in. You know what I mean? Because a lot of most comedians, being around Joe so much, I'm very picky when it comes to comedy shows that I like. When I go to Netflix, I'll watch 1 minute and I'll fucking stop that motherfucker. Right. Boom.
Yeah.
Most like 80% of them Netflix specials. Boom. I'll stop that shit. I won't listen to it. I hung out with Joe too much. I'm used to high level being around, like, listening to Joe, and then Dave Chappelle would come and do a spot in the main room.
It's hard to enjoy mediocre comedy after.
Yeah. I've been around, like, and then hearing Joey so much, it's like,
oh, yeah.
You can't come with some weak ass, Comic View type shit. That doesn't do it for me no more, So, I'm talking, I suck still, you know what I mean?
No.
But, I'm just not trying, like I said, I'm not trying to get a sitcom. I'm not even trying to be like this guy that goes on the road and is successful. I really don't even have time for that. Yeah. I don't have time to be a success, like what Brendan Schaub is doing.
Yeah.
Fuck, he's killing.
Yeah.
That motherfucker is killing. That might be the fastest rising comedian of all time. Like going from nothing to being a fighter to being a comedian. That motherfucker's on a meteoric rise. That's a lot of time. Like I got
putting a lot of
I got 100 schools under me. You know what I mean?
Do you really?
Yeah. I got a son and a wife, and I'm trying to spend time with them. So the way I approach comedy is like, I just do the gigs that come up. If they come up, I'll do them. But I'm not doing what real comedians do. Real comedians go out several times a night or a week.
Yeah.
And go out there and grind. Man, I don't have time to grind. You know what I mean? So there's
I'm a comedian and I don't have time to grind.
Yeah, there's paid comedians, the high level ones, and then there's the open micers. I'm like a step below an open micer. You know what I mean? Because open micers are doing working way more than I am. I just do a couple shows here and there. Tinfoil hat comedy night, I could do that.
Yeah.
I feel really good in front of Mexican crowds. I feel like I can do, because I grew up Mexican and I have a bunch of Mexican stories. So when I've opened for Joey Diaz 5 times. And it's an honor, man, like to open for that motherfucker, and he just brings all the Mexicans.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like when it's just a room full of Mexicans, I feel like this is gonna be easy. I really do.
Yeah.
But if it's a room like a random night, like on a Tuesday night at the Comedy Store, where it's a mixture, you got like Hillary fans here, just a mixture. Ooh, that's a hard crowd. Damn, that's a hard. Like for me, I need to specialize. That's why we decided to do Tinfoil Hat Comedy Night, because he was already doing the Tinfoil Hat podcast, which I love, and I love the fact that it doesn't sound threatening. It's tinfoil hat. We're just fucking around talking about crazy shit, smoking weed. That's what it sounds like.
It's not
threatening.
And it's something that it's like, it's a different thing than what you're going to get. Like, then you know what you're going in to get, and it's something that no one else is doing, and it is fun. And oddly enough, it's part of like the cultural lexicon these days, is that, Joe's podcast is inarguably the biggest podcast in the world.
Fuck
and
yeah.
and it's a topic of conversation once a week. Once a week you hear something about conspiracies, and everyone's got a hint about them. Everyone has their own conspiracies.
You know, people come up to me fucking all the time.
I bet.
Everywhere I go, and they go, dude, I love your podcast. I go, which one? My podcast? No, the Joe Rogan Experience. It's always from Joe Rogan. No one's ever seen my podcast.
Dude, everyone goes to me where they go, oh, dude, I love your podcast. I never miss one. And I go, yeah. And they're like, and you do your own one too. And I go, wait, which one are you? And they're like, when you're on Joe Rogan, that's the best. I'm like,
all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, thank you.
That podcast is so goddamn big. Holy fucking shit.
Dude,
you know?
I mean, this fucking runner I have, this treadmill. Just a fan sent it to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a fucking $5,000 treadmill.
That's crazy.
Guy heard us talking about treadmills on the thing, hit me up, and he was like, hey man, I don't work for the company, but I know a guy who does.
Oh, you were talking about treadmills on Jerry?
Yeah, I was talking.
Nice.
They were making fun of me saying I couldn't run a marathon because the treadmill wasn't real running, and so I ran the LA Marathon, no training.
Yeah,
5 hours 33 minutes, bam, killed it.
A lot of I would say I would say tinfoil hat comedy is, a lot of comedians have some of that. I would say it's kind of like Cat Williams comes out and he's kind of doing conspiracy theory comedy sometimes. You know what I mean?
Cat Williams is definitely a conspiracy theorist.
Totally, right?
It would be fun to see comics go out, like see Chappelle and Cat Williams, and Chappelle's got conspiracies. He thought the Black Illuminati was coming. That's one of the biggest conspiracies out there, is that they came into him in the middle of the night, Bill Cosby and Oprah, and said, "We're going to kill you if you don't start doing what we need you to do." I mean, he took off. He's one of the biggest conspiracies out there.
Yeah, and that show he did at the Belly Room that he put on Netflix.
Yeah.
At the very end, he basically explains what happened to him.
Yeah,
because he tells he through another story. He told a story of a pimp and a hooker, and how the hooker wanted out, and he knew that ultimately hookers want out. They found, they have some crazy idea they're gonna change their life and everything. So what he does is this pimp. He says, okay, one more job and you're out. She's like, I want to join the circus. And goes, okay, you want to do the circus? Okay, just one more job for me and you're out. There's a guy across the street, go do him up and then give him this pill. Or he gave her a bottle of pills or something. And then she went to the room, had sex with him, gave him some pills. He passes out and she thinks, oh shit, he might be dead, right? Because he said he's going to pass out and he's got a suitcase of money under the bed. Take that shit and then you're gone. Let's just do one job. And she goes back to the pimp. She goes, oh my God, I think he's fucking dead. And he's like, no way. No way. How many pills did you give him? She goes, I gave him all. You said, I didn't tell you to give him all the pills. Holy shit. So he grabs her, takes her back to the room. He calls some people, has the body disposed of, takes care of it. Then he says, you know what? You got to stay with me for 6 more months. You know what I mean? And she goes, okay. Because you fucked up. I'll cover for you. I'll cover you, but you fucking killed him. I'm going to cover for you, but you're going to stay with me 6 months. So the guy was never dead. It was a trick.
Yeah.
So and then after he tells that story in the Belly Room, he says, that's what happened to me. That's why I went to Africa. Thank you. Good night. And he walked off the stage. So through that hooker story, he's telling you that something similar like that happened to him.
He would be a really interesting guy to hear talk about conspiracies.
Holy shit. Dude, that no one's done what Chappelle's done. I mean, just with his stand-up, he could easily be the best stand-up of all time. He's in the conversation. He could easily be the number one guy. He's
up there. I could say he's written my favorite joke that's ever been written, the kicker and the pussy one.
Yes, yeah.
That's one of my favorite jokes ever. That's great. And I just like a great joke.
I like the one where he talks about, he says, they say someone fucked a monkey and that's how we got AIDS. We got AIDS through a monkey. He goes, you know how strong a monkey is? You know how hard it'd be to fuck a monkey? He'd just rip your fucking dick off and throw it into the tall grass, never to be seen again. I love that. But arguably, he's the best comedian ever.
Yeah.
And he had the best sketch show ever.
Yeah.
Who can fuck with Chappelle when it comes to sketches? Remember the blind racist guy?
Yeah.
You can't top that sketch. That went on for 10 minutes, and it was just bomb after bomb. Boom, boom, boom. He was just destroying.
Charlie Murphy.
Yeah.
Charlie Murphy is the best. Was the best storyteller ever.
Yes.
And he did it differently. He didn't do it like in this sing-songy. He did it his way.
Yeah.
And they were flat, but they fucking killed.
Yes.
They were. Have you ever heard the story about Charlie Murphy borrowing his brother's jacket?
No.
Oh my
Eddie
God.
Murphy?
Eddie. So he goes, I get out of the Navy and I go out to LA, and Eddie's like, yo, we're going out to Planet or to fucking Club LAX or whatever, you know? And so he's like, all I got's Navy gear. So they say to me, they're like, and he's like, yo, why don't you
Like
wear this
Navy gear?
Like Navy. Like he was just in the Navy. All his Navy stuff.
Oh.
Uniforms.
Charlie Murphy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Eddie's like, why don't you wear this jacket out? So he gives him a blue busboy jacket. Like the boys are back in town.
Shit.
But it's all bedazzled and sparkly and blue and white and stripes. And he goes, no shirt, chains on, busboy jacket. They walk in. Everyone's like watching them walk in like, yo, that's Eddie Murphy. Yo, that's Eddie Murphy. And it's like, yo, who's that with him? And he's like, I think that's his brother. And they're like, what's he doing? He's like, I think he's a magician. I love that. But that story is so great because it's got the payoff. It's just such a great, I think he was the best, man. I think he was one of the.
Those sketches were crazy. And he also is the only comedic star to walk away from fame. He walked the fuck away from all that shit. That's a special man
Changed
right
the
there.
game. He changed the game, I think. I wouldn't say him and Joe both just kind of said, I just want to do comedy.
Yeah.
That's you know how rare that is?
Exactly. Usually people get into comedy to try to get sitcoms or something.
They just said, I'll just do comedy, thank you. And make millions going,
Yeah.
I'll just do the thing I like to do,
Yeah.
that I know that I like to do and that I'm really good at.
Yeah.
As
And
opposed to like
you
Mitch
have-
Hedberg. Mitch Hedberg would be like, it would be like saying to a waiter, do you want to cook? And he's like, I'm just a waiter. He's like, yeah, but if you're a waiter, you should cook too. No, but I just like being a waiter.
Yeah.
Like it's bizarre that you can be good at stand-up and they'll be like, oh, you should do other shit.
Yeah. Yeah. The best to stand up, really. You know, I'll never be as good as the greats or anything like that, but I like envy that about them where they
None of us will be as good as them.
They could grab a mic, no sound check or anything, just walk on stage and get paid thousands of dollars for making people laugh.
Yeah.
And when people laugh, that like makes you feel really good. It's like a symbiotic thing. Them laugh, you telling jokes makes them have a good time, and then the way they express it makes you have a good time. So just back and forth, you're just hooking each other up, and you both feel great. You know, it's magical. You know, I grew up making music, and you know, sound checks and lugging your equipment. It's a fucking pain in the ass. And after the gig's done, and you had a shitty sound, now you got to babysit your equipment, and it's like I always looked at like when. You know, I've seen Joe maybe 2,000 times. I'm like, man, this motherfucker, he don't need shit. He don't need to tune his guitar. He don't need shit. He just walks up on stage, grab a fucking mic anywhere, and he's gonna crush. And there's gonna be the same entertainment value as, you know, the best comedic movie ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, a good stand-up show where you're getting like an average of, you know, a big laugh every few minutes. That's way better than a movie.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just a dude with a mic.
and it's so much. Oh, my daughter just got thrown in the pool. It's so much better than like even with a movie, the production value versus like all the money they put into it to make a 90-minute movie,
and you get 2 laughs out of it.
And then you get Bill Burr or Rogan or Chappelle sitting up there for 60 minutes, and the laugh per minute is through the fucking roof.
Yes.
That's insane.
There's no comparison.
There's no comparison, and in a weird way, you go, I can't believe the other exists. I can't
Exactly.
believe they'd roll the dice and put $22 million into a 60-minute movie when you know this guy can do it for fucking $20 a ticket.
I'd way rather see high-level comedy than a movie any day.
Fuck
any
yes.
day. High-level shit, for sure. Movies, 99% of them suck.
Yeah.
A good movie, to me, is a movie where I laughed hard 3 times. I go, if I laugh 3 times, that's a pretty good movie. Just because most movies don't get any laughs from me.
Deadpool 2. Did you see it?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Did you when they did the skydiving?
Oh, dude,
I was dying.
Dude, that was awesome.
I was dying.
Yeah,
Fucking
you know
laughing.
what? I wonder if Ryan Reynolds writes most of his shit. Do they let him just go off, or does someone write all that for him?
I don't know.
Because it seems so personal.
It
like
seems
that,
really like
that's his style. Like he could just talk shit on anybody. You know?
He's really great.
Yeah,
That movie killed me.
Yeah, I rarely go to the movies, and I saw that by myself. My wife was hanging out with the in-laws. She took my son. I didn't have shit to do all day. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to fucking ArcLight and go see something. Like I don't like superhero movies, but Deadpool is like an anti-superhero movie.
Oh, it's fucking great.
Like, yeah, it was awesome, man.
Well, I'm gonna let you go, man. I know you.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate you doing this.
Hey,
I
dude,
can talk to you
man.
anytime.
Anytime, man.
I'll hit you up. I think I got your number. I came this close to taking jiu-jitsu classes. Do you remember that?
Yeah. And what ended up happening?
You,
busy?
you had a black eye that day, and you were like, and I went, how'd you get a black eye? And you're like, do I have one? I was like, yeah. And you're like, oh, from just training, just rolling.
Yeah.
And I went,
bumped.
oh, I'm on TV. I can't get a black eye. Like,
You can put makeup on it.
And I was like, I can't just show up with a black
Joe
eye.
did Fear Factor with some black eyes.
Yeah, I
They
know.
didn't care. They put makeup on it, but you could still tell.
I would love to do jiu-jitsu, but the base for me to get to where I think it would be enjoyable, all the stuff I'd have to learn.
No, it doesn't work like that. You'll have fun right away.
Yeah?
You have fun right away, man.
So
It's the
badly.
art of putting human beings to sleep. It's the art of killing people who are good at killing people. Jiu-jitsu isn't about killing just regular people, like 99.999% of the population. That's too easy. You could learn that shit in 2 months.
Yeah.
Our game is how you kill people who are experts at killing people who are experts at killing people. That's what we're good at. So it's not about killing regular people is easy. That's like... You know what I mean? After you do it for a few years, it's like you don't even if a guy's athletic and he comes on his first day, it's just not it's not fun. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what makes it fascinating is that we're practicing killing people who are really good at it. You know,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll hit you up and I'll take a class.
Children do it. You know what I mean?
I always wanted to get my
it.
daughters into it.
Burbank right here, man.
I know.
I teach downtown LA. I teach
Yeah?
at downtown LA. That's my main school. That's headquarters. But we got one in Burbank right here, right next to you. They're a great group of guys there.
Okay. Well, I'll hit you up.
All right.
I appreciate you doing this, man. Thank you
man.
so much.
Thank you very much.